Hi, I'm Maureen Driscoll, and welcome to my 7-part series on how to write a romance novel. This is part 3, Obstacles and Conflict, and I have 3 great tips for you. And I can't control my hair at all today, so we're just going to have to bear with this. Okay, I tried to fix the hair. It's not happening, and I don't know, got tired of it, so you're just going to bear with it. So, obstacles and conflict. In part 1, genre, I asked you to go read reviews on Amazon, good and bad ones. And the bad reviews probably included a couple complaining about there's not enough story. That is a very, very common complaint with novels in general and romance novels specifically. Now, you could just say, well, they're just getting the romance. Yes, and that's fine. And erotica certainly is basically no plot and just the fun stuff. But for your sake, as you are trying to, write anywhere from 200 pages for a novella up to 300 plus for a novel, as you're trying to, fill those pages, you can't just fill it with I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. It's going to be something else in there. And so that's why a plot, and not necessarily related to the romance, is something that's going to be your best friend. Now, in part 2, I asked you to, with each of your characters, to find out what they say they want and what they really want, and how you reconcile the two of those. So, if you have good goals for your characters, you can set up good obstacles that stand in the way of them completing those goals. And watching them try and then fail, and then try and then fail, and then try, and the tension is so high because we really want this person to do whatever it is you want them to do. And then we find out if they do it or they don't do it. That is a great arc. It's great tension. It's a great story. So you can build that in and fill those pages at the same time. All right, I am clearly in conflict with my hair. This tip is called cable movie conflicts. There are a couple cable channels out there who have a lot of movies that are rom-coms. A lot of them are holiday movies. I'm not going to mention the network, but you probably can guess by now. And they are really good at setting up conflict between the two leads. And while conflict doesn't necessarily mean arguing, this is a way to go, which is to actually put your two leads in diametric opposition to each other. Like it could be something like this woman from this small town loves the library, loves it so much because libraries are awesome. And then you've got this guy who works for a soulless corporation who comes to town and they're like, the first thing we're going to do is demolish the library, just like pave over it. That's it. So of course they're like, you can't do that. And he's like, but I have to. So they, fight. And of course they don't like each other. And then through the course of the film, they do sort of see each other's good points. And then he's like, well, maybe the library is not so bad. And she's like, it's wonderful. And then they get together and then they save the library. And in the process, they find out that they're made for each other. And then at the very end of the movie, they kiss without any tongue. So that's one way to do conflict. So if you are looking for something like that and just sort of like whatever this cause is, this person's on this side of it, this person's on that side of it, and you have them, fight over this or argue over this, again, doesn't necessarily have to be like I hate you, but just sort of they are opposed. Maybe they're, they enlist allies, they do this, they finally come together, they work together as a team, and then they resolve this at the end. That is perfect. That is a story right there. That is a really good thing. That network would not be nearly as successful if that formula did not work. So that is a wonderful, I'm not saying copy it, but conflict between your two leads is one terrific way to get conflict in your book. Ponytail. We're at that phase, or the I've given up on my hair phase. But it's okay because every time I've redone the hair, I've had cookies. So it's been a really good day. So this conflict I'm calling inner conflict or worldview conflict. And in this case, you don't have two people fighting over something or in conflict about something. You have two people who have their own thing and are just, working together. One of my books is called Never Wager Against Love, and it is one of the Regency romances. And in this, one of the main character, Arthur, when he is like 16 years old, has his fortune told. And they tell him that he is going to fall in love with someone who's going to die, which is kind of a really bad fortune teller. But anyway, so it's like you fall in love with somebody, she's going to die. So he's like, okay, never gonna fall in love. And that also starts him on a course through his life where he's like this inveterate gambler and he just doesn't want to think about love. But in the course of his life, he runs into this woman named Vanessa, who is a spy for the Home Office in England. And she has to go on this mission, sort of like Arthur and his quest, and they have to go collect things. And so that is her mission. Like she has to get these things in order to save England. It's complicated. And because he's a gentleman and he really, he likes her, he's like, okay, I'll go along and help. And so we see them these quests. And so on the one hand, the story is, can they get these three things and save England? But on the other hand, Arthur is falling in love with her. And he knows he can't do that because if he falls in love with her, she's going to die. So these are two different stories going on here, and they are unrelated. I mean, Arthur is helping her with what she has to do, but, he has this conflict of like, oh, I can't do this. And I also think it's, if I might toot my own horn, it's an effective way to keep these people apart because he really strongly believes that what the fortune teller said is going to come true because the fortune teller had predicted other things for his family and they did come true. So I'm not saying copy my book, but what I am saying is to try and get something where, it might be some, strongly held belief and they're fighting with themselves, something like that. That counts as conflict. That counts as story. Those are good obstacles. Now, where it hasn't worked as well is there is a work in progress. Okay, you know what? It's not really a work in progress because I haven't worked on it in 2 years, but I have a book and it's written. It is my second. I have a book called a series called The Carmichaels. It's a contemporary series, and I wrote this about the girl in the family whose name I can't even remember because it's been so long since I've actually looked at that book. And basically, she goes to England, modern day, and she meets this guy who has just become the guardian for this teen girl who is the daughter of one of his oldest friends who was killed in an accident. So he's trying to figure out how he's going to be a dad when he has, he's just been like this happy-go-lucky guy, and he wants to do well by this girl. And our girl wants, no, woman, she's in her late 20s, but she has no desire to settle down. Plus her family is in America and she has this new career. And so they are trying to figure out in this modern world, how do you coexist with those two things? Because this guy does not want to move to Los Angeles where she lives, which, because it's Los Angeles. You can't raise kids in Los Angeles very easily. So these are the modern day problems that they are trying to deal with. They like each other, but they just can't figure out how to make that work. And seeing as how that's been in my computer for 2 years finished, I can't figure it out either. Now, this also brings up something else that I was going to say for later on. But the reason why this finished book is not out is because I gave it to my editor. And my editor is one of a handful of people whose judgment I trust. I trust it 100%. Like if she says something is wrong, it's wrong. There are other people who tell me something is wrong. I'm like, in your opinion, it's wrong. If she says it, it's wrong. She's that good. So she said that there's really not enough conflict in this book. They're both too good. There's really no reason why they can't just sort of suck it up and make this compromise work. So she wants me to find something that is going to be a little bit more compelling and also to make them more fully rounded people. So in other words, things that I am telling you guys to do in this course, someone has told me. So maybe she should teach this. But I'm also saying that, I'm at this point, I think I'm 26 books into my writing career, and I still have done this thing where I'm like, I know she's right, but I can't figure out how to fix it. So don't be too hard on yourself either. Keep going, keep, try to fix things, but it's not always easy. Sometimes it's never easy, but sometimes it's harder than others. So I guess that's it for obstacles and conflict and hair. Okay, I lied before because this is giving up. Thank you for joining me for part 3, obstacles and conflict. Please tune in the next time, which is part 4, the unoutline outline, or maybe non-outline outline. Non-outline outline. I think that sounds better. Thank you. If you liked this, please hit like and comment, and please share with someone who might get something out of it. And in the meantime, I'll see you when I see you. Thank you.